Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Merry Christmas to all those who celebrate. Have a good time. Spend some time with the family. You know what time it is. Well, some pretty good news for me personally and probably for you guys is the guy that beat Canelo, Alvarez. That's probably how you're going to know him. Dimitry Bivol, or Bivol, like I like to call him. He's still undefeated. He's going to probably get Fighter of the Year if he hasn't already gotten it, because not only did he beat Canelo by a landslide, he was able to beat Gilberto Ramirez. I mean, really? I didn't think I didn't think he was going to do the Ramirez thing. Canelo was like, okay, at the time, because, Dimitry Bivol wasn't looking so great. He was still winning these fights, but he wasn't looking so great. He was thinking, well, Canelo could probably get in on this one. So he beat Canelo pretty good. But I'm thinking, Gilberto Ramirez with his work rate and being so big, whew, that's going to be a hard one. And, Bivol's going to have to use his legs. Well, he didn't really have to use his legs that much. Stood in the pocket and beat that guy. That's awesome. And he reminds me of Alexander Usyk. And I mean mentally. That's what I mean, mentally. Right? And that's what's up. He's not letting all this ballyhoo when people, get him sidetracked. You know what he's trying to do? He's trying to fight Artur Beterbiev. If Artur Beterbiev gets past Anthony Yard, he wants to fight him for undisputed. Right? That's what's up. Right? And so people are talking about the Canelo rematch and stuff. So he's like basically telling Canelo, F you, dude. Right? I ain't got time for messing around with you. And there's other fights. I'm not going to be one of these guys sitting around waiting for if Canelo going to fight me. The hell with him. Because he's already seen the BS. Because Canelo had a rematch clause. And he could have fought him directly, immediately. He didn't have to go fight Golovkin, which nobody wanted to see, which they won't release no damn numbers for or nothing. That was a big flop. Nobody wanted to see that fight. And Golovkin fought funny, to put it, mildly. But good news for Golovkin. Sergio Martinez, who's also old and over the hill, he's talking a little Golovkin now. So I'm looking at Golovkin, just like I was able to tell you that Canelo's going to fight John Ryder. Golovkin's probably happy Sergio Martinez has said something. Being this old, coming off of knees, ain't been fighting for a while. That's the kind of thing that Golovkin will probably be happy about. So that, watch out for that. But your boy, Dimitry Bivol, is like, Canelo, F him, because of the simple fact he could have fought me immediately instead of fighting Golovkin, and then he could fight me in May, right? But he's trying to fight John Ryder, right? Talking about it's a tune-up. Hey, man, Canelo, it's a tune-up, right? So if it's a tune-up, you might want to fight a right-hander, orthodox fighter, to prepare yourself from Dimitry Bivol. No, it's a southpaw, and like I said, it's the easiest one. Right? Now they're talking about, he has to hurry up and fight the WBO mandatory. No, John Ryder just became WBO mandatory. Right? The WBA mandatory has been there forever. The regular champion, David Morrell, and the WBA is consolidating all their belts. They'll talk about every division except for the one where Canelo is holding the WBA belt hostage. Right? David Morrell. WBC belt, which they should be first, because actually Canelo never fought for that one. They just gave it to him in a WBA fight with Callum Smith, right? The same WBC that raised the clenbuterol levels when Canelo got dope. Same ones that gave him a franchise title so he doesn't have to fight Jamal Charlo. Those guys, Suleiman, and that crew. So, he's able to do whatever. And then Canelo said, hey, can I fight Yildirim? Yeah, asked. Can I fight Yildirim? Who asked for that? So that WBC title is not, don't have to hurry up to do it for some reason. That can wait. So the WBO, who just became WBO mandatory, you got to make sure to fight that one to make Canelo look good, right? Because at the end of the day, he wants John Ryder, right? He's intrigued by that. And that's a quote. Now, the other ones, whatever, right? We've seen Canelo do this before when Demetrius Andrade was the champion at 154. He gets stripped. Leon Smith is the guy. Leon Smith doesn't ask to fight Canelo or to call him out or call out his name like Demetrius Andrade. And he obviously is not as good as Demetrius Andrade. Canelo fights him immediately. David Benavidez gets stripped of the WBC. WBC, He asked to fight Yildirim, but then the WBC gave him the title when he fought Callum Smith. Didn't even have to fight for it. Those are the things that are happening. That's why Dimitry Bivol is not in for these American racist type of shenanigans. He's not having that. Neither is Alexander Usyk. These guys are obviously going for greatness, right? Obviously great fighters, and they're not into, getting gifts. They're trying to earn it. Right, and so it brings me to the other thing about we got people like Canelo fighting right there in front of you that does these kind of things in broad daylight for a decade, and we would focus on a Terrence Crawford who has none of this kind of behavior ever. Even if someone was crazy enough to believe he is fearful of Errol Spence, for example. He's totally fearful of Errol Spence, which you would have no from grounds. Like, does he run from Errol Spence? He walks up on Errol Spence. He tells Errol Spence he'll beat him up. He'll put it on his kids. He keeps talking to him in the media and outside of the media, in social media and outside of the media. So there's really, and he's never been scared before. There's never been any shenanigans with Terrence Crawford. Like a Canelo, who I just told you, right? All those little things that he does and gets away with and gets helped throughout, for the whole decade. Ridiculous things that every story I've talked about, even his weight at 155, I could just make a video only about that. Like, why does we give him a weight when it's got, darn it, 17 weight classes, and you got one at 154 and the next one's at 160, and you can't get one of those? Either you're 154, you can make it, or you're just 160. No, 155 for Canelo, about 3 fights. Instead of saying Canelo, you got to go to one. No, they called it Canelo weight, right? And, we can just raise dope levels. Because, hey, man, the Mexicans, man, they over there eating that meat. We're going to raise the levels. We can just do stuff in broad daylight, right? And we kind of move on. But a Terrence Crawford, the obvious best fighter in the world. Matter of fact, Terrence Crawford will fight Canelo at about 160. And like I'm going to keep saying, people wouldn't want to see, if that was supposed to happen, Canelo and Terrence Crawford asked Canelo to go to 160 to fight him, people wouldn't want to see it because they would be afraid of what can possibly happen there, right? So it's just not relative of the energy you have for like a Terrence Crawford when Canelo was doing things just like this. And I'm so glad that Dimitry Bivol sees through it. So yes, F Canelo from Dimitri's Bivol's standpoint. He's not going to be waiting around for this guy, and he knows that John Ryder is not a tune-up for him. John Ryder is just basically, that's somebody easy around here, and luckily he got some kind of belt, and I can fight him instead of the other ones that are for more money and more prestige. If it's David Benavidez, David Morrell, and the one we just hate to mention, because he's been avoiding him for 10 years, Demetrius Andrade, all those guys are there for way more lucrative fights than John Ryder. But the problem that they all have is, they're not easy for Canelo. And that's basically the bottom line, and you all see it, right? It's just a matter of what you're going to say about it. And whatever, when you're against stuff like that, that's obviously the truth, then there's other things that have nothing to do with boxing. We shouldn't have that in that so-called sport. It should be like, nope, you're going to have to fight these harder ones, or if not, you don't need to have all the belts. Or be considered, in some cases even, number 1 pound for pound. That's where the issues come. Put the dude 20, we don't even have a conversation here. But don't be trying to put this kind of guy number 1, because most of those guys in that top 10 pound for pound, most of them ain't got somebody in their division or divisions right around them who they're afraid to fight for years. That's the difference there. Anyway, I'm up out of here. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.